what we're doing today, guys. Pretty obvious that that gate is no longer hanging on the hinges. So we're going to cut and grind these off, get this all cleaned up, and we're going to use ratchet straps to hold the gate up, weld all new hinges on. I got some that are a little bit longer than these, and we're going to go from there. So let's get started. I've already cut one side of this hinge off. This is going to be a trial run. I'm wearing this on my little chest mount. I don't know if it's showing the right angles. I won't know until I get home and edit the video, but hopefully y'all can see everything I'm doing. If not, I'll know. I'll have to angle it different. We shouldn't need the plasma cutter today. I don't believe. I think it's just grinding this off where it can clear the paint, weld the new hinges on. Normally I'd have the hinges up and down where somebody can't take it off the hinges unless they cut one of them, but in this case I'm gonna mount them both up where you could theoretically lift the gate off the hinges if you needed to. The other way is more for security, but I mean, this is just, the cows ain't gonna be able to lift that gate up, so not terribly worried about that. Always pick up your trash, especially when there's animals around. Don't ever throw hot shit on top of a nylon strap, because it'll melt it. At least I'm in a shady spot today. This hardly ever happens. because I needed one right now. And then I've got a little one that's only a 30 amp, a cut 30 that I keep in the shop, which it doesn't quite have the power this one's got. Obviously it's 50 amp, but it still does a good job. But I just leave it plugged into the welder, and I always leave the voltage set on max, and then I adjust my, that's a little hot, a little too hot for welding this stuff. That's normally where the machine stays, 145 and 10 max. And I can pretty much weld everything. If it's something thin, I just move further away and go faster. But I've got my leads on reels, I've got a little stool if I need it, got my clamps, I got all kinds of grinders and wheels and stuff in these boxes. I got extra fuel, I got 10 gallons of gas, 5 gallons of coolant, and 10 gallons of diesel for when I'm out in the skid steer. There's my gun for my plasma, and the ground I just have hooked to the ground on here because this is way longer, and I can run that ground and hook it up, and I'm automatically grounded on the plasma. So it's set up the way I want it. I mean, it's not exactly the way I want it. I'd still like to have a crane. Okay, I don't know how much of that y'all got. Popped up with that little message, SD card error. So I don't know why it does that. Every now and then it does. But anyhow, like I said, I got my cooler, which sucks. I just put ice in it a couple hours ago and it's already half melted. Go figure. I know it's hot, but still. I got this one little area here left to put stuff. I'd eventually like to put a crane on it, but that's later. Got my hydraulic power unit here for the jaws of life and whatever else I need. I got my pipe stands up there chained down so nobody steals them, more or less. My chop saw, which I don't have it locked in, but I do have provisions to run a chain across and lock it up too. You got to do that nowadays because freaking idiots will steal you blind, especially stuff like this just laying on the back of a flatbed truck. It sucks, but it is what it is. And old handy dandy vise, which gets used almost daily. Alright, so I got all that ground off. Let's get the gate carried over there. We'll use the ratchet straps to pick it up and see if we can't get the new hinges welded on. And it's a heavy gate. I know, because I built it. Ugh. That's got to be tended to also. The latch is not coming back out. So let's see what we can do with that. Need my hammer. Oh, and I have my gas-powered, my big air compressor here with my big tank. In case I want to do some painting or running some big power tools. Sand this thing off and lube her up. So I will need to grind her again. That's all it takes is a little lube. Which unfortunately, stuff like this never gets lubed. They usually last for several years and they'll start sticking, and once they stick, they break the hinges loose. Alright. I may have to adjust that rod out too. Alright. Now it's time for the ratchet strap. Normally I have a floor jack that I carry out here, then you get some real fine adjusting on the gate, but this will work too. I've hung many a gate like this. Be close enough over there. Yep, we need the other ratchet strap now for that side. Hopefully I got it. Yep, I do. This way. That's the only drawer out of the four or door that I can just slam and it shuts automatically. Probably need to adjust on some of them other latches. Let's do this. I don't know why I put that so far down. That's not working anyways. Because I don't have it in the right spot, dummy. Too much. Yeah, that should be about right. that'll do. All right. Have to grind a little more off of that. Fortunately, I did not bring any touch-up paint today because I wasn't really 100% sure what I was going to be doing out here. Gate will actually be straight and fix the hole. Just making lots of mistakes today. Well, and what doesn't help is all this fence, I built all this years ago. This is all in pretty much solid sand, so it moves a lot. I come out here a lot. Well, it's been less and less lately since they're finally kind of working their way in. But I'll come out here and I have to adjust gates or make the holes bigger because, believe it or not, as it gets hot and cold, the gates will rise and fall and they won't line up no more. So that's just part of it. Hang on. Cut some more paint off so we get a good weld there. Get this back up where it needs to be. I like to have them in the center of the hole, that way as it does rise or fall it may still latch when possible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. starting to get a little hot even with a glove on. Alright, let's clean that up a little bit. Remember that piece we cut off? About to utilize it. Now, I don't really want to take that end loose yet because this up here is hotter than heck and it could bend down. So, I'm going to go around to the inside and weld that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and weld this one here. I'm already here. The inside and we'll roll all our stuff up. By then it should be cooled off. I can let that other ratchet strap down. And then we'll lube it up real good. These are 7018s I'm using. Don't let me forget that. It's too hot, burned a hole in the pipe. glad y'all reminded me. I think the reason it burned through is when I ground that off, ground down into the metal too much. Put everything up. Come on. Now, I've got to cut some of that off. It is nice out here though. It's one of the perks of this job. A couple of them. I mean, it's hard work sometimes and it's hot, but you're out here by yourself. It's quiet, it's calm. You don't have somebody breathing down your neck. And a lot of the places I go, it's really, really nice, beautiful. Some of them are not so nice and beautiful, as you've seen in my videos. Gotta love that sand. Let's lock that one in. Go. Roll up our cord. Put this back on there so it don't get all grease all over it like it already probably has. Level. Not supposed to be. If I made all this stuff level, and now the posts are plumb, I do know that, but if I made the fence level, you'd have some posts, oop, that don't go in there, some posts would be off the ground, out of the ground 6 foot, and some would be sitting on the ground. Just how it goes on uneven land. Put my hammer back where it goes. Oop. welding hood off. Put it back there. Welding hat. Sweaty thing. And that. Now let's get some spray lube. That'll help cool it off and lube it up all at once. It's not really good to use a grease out here because it tends to attract this sand, and then it really makes a mess because it just starts eating on them hinges. It's going to drop a bunch, I'm sure, but it's still got a gap under it. There went my Earl. I mean, worst case scenario, I may have to come back and cut that hole out a little bit more. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Man, dang, I lost my straw. I'm gonna leave this out because I was going to open and shut it, and swing it, and spray it. And so I don't know if y'all have been on the marketplace or noticed I've actually got this truck for sale with everything on it. I'll keep maybe the fuel cans and all of my tools for sure. But the welder, plasma cutter, air compressors, the porta power on the back, all that goes with it. I decided I'm not going to sell it just yet. We're going to give it another few months. Well, it'll actually be closer to a year because we got to get my daughter into school, and that'll free up daycare money where I can afford a payment. So I'm just going to hang on to old White Lightning for now, and then maybe in a year from now and get something a little newer, a little nicer, 4-door, 4-wheel drive, all that fun stuff. Now what will happen is when these hinges get dry, they lock up in there, and then when you open the gate, you got all that leverage and it'll rip them hinges off of the fence. You can weld them on there as much as you want, it ain't going to matter. It's either going to egg shape that or it's going to rip it loose. It's going to break something. That's just how it goes. I mean, I could put an even bigger hinge on it, but then it's just going to actually tear out the pipe. When you have that kind of leverage, you know, 8 or 10 foot gate, and you're grabbing it from one end of that, something's going to give. So the best thing is, hopefully it'll rain in them and it'll keep them washed out as it does, and then just every so often come down here and spray them with some lube. It's already getting tight. Going from hot to cold. Oh yeah, there it goes. Must have had a dingleberry fell down inside there. And sometimes that happens. A little dingleberry, either a piece of slag or a little piece of metal will fall down in that hinge and it'll just grind on it. Yeah, because it got real loose real quick. So, all right, perfect. That'll work.